Some of us stumbled on the worship of physical pleasure or status or money. Some of us lost ourselves in our careers. And then some of us stumbled on people. Some of us lost ourselves there. But what if every single stumble, every challenge, every experience in our life was only intended for one single purpose? To bring us back to our origin. What if every win, every loss, every beauty, every fail, every cruelty, and every smile was only intended to unveil another barrier between us and God, between us and where we began, and where we are desperately seeking to return? What if everything was only about seeing Him? We must know that all that we experience in this life has a purpose. And it is we who choose whether or not to realize that purpose. Take, for example, beauty. Some people don't even recognize beauty when it's right in front of them. They can walk through a sunset or a brilliant forest of orange trees and not even notice. And other people see beauty and they do appreciate it. But they stop there. They take it in, they may even feel overwhelmed, but then it ends there. That person is like the one who appreciates art, but never inquires about the artist. The artwork itself was intended to communicate a message from the artist. But if the art lover loses himself in the painting, but never sees that message, that artwork has not fulfilled its purpose. The purpose of the sun, first fallen snow, crescent moon, breathtaking ocean is not just to decorate this lonely planet. The purpose is far deeper than that. The purpose is, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alteration of night and day are signs for those of understanding. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. So these are the people who remember Allah while standing and sitting or lying on their sides and give thought to the creation of the heavens and the earth, and they say and they realize ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك. My Lord, you have not created all of this for no reason. Allah is high above doing anything for no reason. You have not created all of this for no reason. Subhanak, faqina adab an-nar. So protect us from the punishment of the fire. All this beauty was created as a sign, but one that can only be understood by a select group of people, those who reflect, who understand, who use their hearts and their intellect, and remember God in every human condition. Standing, sitting, lying down. So, even the sunset must be looked through. Even there, we cannot lose ourselves. We must look beyond even the majestic beauty and honor to see the beauty behind it. For the beauty behind it is the true beauty, the source of all beauty. All that we see is only a reflection. We must study the stars, the trees, the snow-capped mountains in order to read the message behind them. Because if we do not, we're like the one who finds a message inside a beautifully decorated bottle, yet becomes so enamored by the bottle that he never even opens the message. But what is the message stuck inside the intensity of stars? There is a sign, but a sign of what? These signs are a pointer to Him, to His greatness, His majesty, His beauty. a pointer to His might and His power. Study, reflect, absorb the beauty and majesty of what's created, but don't stop there. Don't lose yourself in beauty. Look beyond it and consider that if the creation is that majestic, that great, that beautiful, how majestic, how great, and how beautiful must be the Creator. Finally, realize experientially, رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا سُبْحَانَكَ. My Lord, you have not created all of this without a purpose. Exalted is you. Purpose. Everything has one. Nothing in the heavens or the earth or inside of me or inside of you is created without a purpose. No event in your life, no sadness, no delight, no pain, no pleasure, no loss was created without a purpose. So just as we must read the message inside the bottle of the sun and the moon and the sky, so too must we examine the messages in our own life experiences. We are always looking for signs. We are always asking God to speak to us. But those signs are all around us. They are in everything. God is always speaking to us. The question is whether we are listening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقال الذين لا يعلمون لولا يكلمنا الله أو تأتينا آية كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بينا الآيات لقوم يوقنون. Those who do not know say, why does Allah not speak to us, or there come to us a sign? Thus spoke those who came before these same words. The hearts resemble each other. We have shown clearly the signs to a people who are certain in faith. If we look beyond and through every single thing that happens to us, everything we do or fail to do, and see Allah, then you will have gotten the purpose. When something happens that you love, be careful not to miss the point. Remember that nothing happens without a reason. Seek it out. Look for the purpose Allah created in what He has given you. What aspect of His essence is He showing you through it? What does He want from you? Similarly, when something happens that you dislike or that hurts you, be careful not to get lost in the illusion created by pain. Look through it. Find the message in the bottle. Find the purpose and let it lead you to a glimpse, just a little more of Him. If it's a slip or even a fall in your deen, don't let shaitan deceive you. Let that slip make you witness His mercy in a more experiential way, in a more deep way, and then seek that mercy to save you from your sins and your own transgression against yourself. If it's an unsolvable problem, don't despair. Witness a glimpse of Al-Fattah, the one who opens for his slaves any closed matter. And if it is a storm, don't let yourself drown. Let it bring you to witness how only He can save His servant from a storm, where there is no one else around. And remember that after all of creation is destroyed, and not a single being exists but Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ? To who is the dominion today? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what's translated as, the day they come forth, nothing concerning them will be concealed from Allah. To Him, to whom belongs the sovereignty that day. لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَّارِ. To Allah, the one, the irresistible. To whom is the sovereignty today? try to witness even a piece of that in this life. To whom is the dominion today? Who else has power to save you? Who else can cure you? Who else can mend your heart? Who else can provide for you? Who else can you run to? Who else? To whom is the dominion today? Lillahi al-wahid al-qahar. To the one, the irresistible. To run to anything else is to resist the irresistible. To seek other than the one, al-wahid, is to become scattered, but never filled. How can we find unity, completion of heart or soul or mind in anything other than Him? So on this path back to where we began, who else can we run to? Who else can we seek? After all, we all want the very same thing: to be whole, to be happy, and to again say that we're home. So he's asking about the hadith that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that actions are by intention. So he's saying, do you have to actively say Bismillah or have the... I'm not sure if I fully understand the question, but intention is something in the heart. So it doesn't need to be spoken on the tongue, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows our intention. And we might be doing an action that is not purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it might be, some percentage for Allah and some percentage for something else. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our intention, but we also have to be careful, because sometimes shaitan uses this idea of not having pure intentions to actually stop us from doing good deeds. So shaitan will come and whisper to us, you're only doing this and that thing because you want people to say that you're really religious, or you're just doing it for the people. And so what ends up happening is you're like, okay, I don't want to show off, I don't want to be someone who shows off, so I just won't do it at all. And that's really what shaitan wants, is for you not to do the deed at all. So that, what we need to be careful about is, when it comes to intention, first, we shouldn't expect perfection from ourselves. We are human and we're imperfect. We ask Allah, to purify our intentions, but we continue to do the good deeds. We don't stop the good deed because we don't feel that we have pure intentions. You keep doing the good deed at the same time, struggling and striving and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify your intention. And I think that one thing when it comes to intention, or when it comes to riyah is showing off in worship, and it's considered like the minorship. And riyah is something, really when you look at riyah, I think that the core of it has to do with not really seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not really knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one example which I think really illustrates this is if you think about somebody who's on their way to meet a king, and they're going to seek something from that king. And on their way to meet that king, they come across the servant of the king. And they know that the king is all-powerful and the servant has no power. The servant he has nothing that he can give him or take from him. How many people are going to be on their way to meet the king and waste time with the servant? Seeking help from the servant, seeking praise from the servant. It's not going to happen only if you see the king. But it's when you don't see the king that you get distracted with the servant. And you will seek something from the servant. Hey, like you're going to now try to impress the servant, right? Only if you didn't see the king. So the more that we understand who Allah is, and that only Allah the human beings, and this is continuously what we're told in the Quran when it talks about the idols and the shirk, is what can they do for you? Can they hear you when you call them? Can they harm you? Can they benefit you? And the answer is no, no, no. And that's the problem, is that it's really a problem of focus, a problem of sight of the heart. We don't see who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. We don't see things as they really are. And we think that, one example I've used before is, when you're playing Monopoly, and you get a lot of money in Monopoly, right? And while you're playing Monopoly, it feels really good to have a lot of money for like a second, right? But as soon as the game is over, can you buy anything with Monopoly money? No, right? human praise is like monopoly money. Human praise is like monopoly money because it feels good for a second. Wow, like, oh, somebody praised me. But ultimately, what can you do with that praise? Can you buy anything with it? Ultimately, it's just like that monopoly money. You can't buy anything with this praise. It doesn't benefit you in any way. So that's why I think, the more that we can understand who Allah is, what the creation is in comparison to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the easier it is to not fall into these types of things. She's saying that, the idea of not filling the emptiness, remember we said that because we are separated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's this emptiness that we have in us. It's like a void. Everybody has it. Every human being has it. But everybody seeks different things to fill it. And some people are going to seek money to fill it. Some are going to seek status to fill it. Some are going to seek, praise or their careers, other people. And so the idea is that what we're trying to do is fill this hole. But then how do you balance having people around and not getting, I guess what you're really saying is like not having that attachment to the people, but having ultimately the attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think one of the best ways that I've found to understand this is that there's a difference between having things in the hand and having things in the heart. The Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they had wealth, right? They may have had, some of them were very wealthy, but their wealth was not held in the heart. Their wealth was held in the hand. What that means is that if it's taken, if it's given, it doesn't change their state. It doesn't change their condition. It doesn't change where they're at. It's something they have but are not ultimately attached to. And I think that that's the way we need to also be in the way that we are with everything in dunya, including people. So we love people, but our ultimate dependence is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, when we're being trained, sometimes we have attachments, we have very, very strong dependencies on things. And each of us have our own attachments. And sometimes when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to free us of those attachments, part of our training may be to take those things away. One example I've used before is if you think about a kid who's been asking for this video game for years, and finally he gets this game, and then he's just obsessed with it. And so what he starts doing is playing it day and night, and doesn't want to do anything else. And this child now, to his own detriment, wants to play day and night, doesn't want to sleep anymore, doesn't want to eat anymore, doesn't want to go to school anymore. So now this thing has become harmful to him because of his attachment to it. What does the loving, caring parent do at this point? Takes away the video game. But you see that in this example, that parent is taking away something which is harming him, but he doesn't see it. So it's not the parent might not be trying to punish the child, the parent is trying to help the child. The parent is trying to save the child from their own addiction that they don't see. Similarly, if you have an addiction to drugs, what do you do to cure it? You take it away. But see, that's the thing, we get addicted, we become dependent, we have these types of attachments to so many things. And sometimes in our training and in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curing us from these dependencies that are harming us, He takes these things away. So this is the concept of loss, the concept of having things taken. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He takes, He gives. So Allah withholds to give you. The question is whether or not you realize what it is that you're actually getting. If we have a friend who is resistant to reminders, how do we go about trying to motivate them to practice properly and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this brings up, different issues. The issue of company, the issue of nasiha. When we talk about nasiha, I want to go at it from this perspective. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger have taught us that Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, calling to good and forbidding evil, that this is part of our deen. We should be, when we see something that's not right, we should try to change it. But I think we have to be very careful in the way we do this, because sometimes the way that we give nasiha is from a place of arrogance, sort of. It's a place of, you see somebody doing something wrong, and you feel that you are higher than them, and when you give the nasiha, you're doing it looking down. This is a serious problem. The reason this is a serious problem is you also have problems. And we have to realize this. This doesn't mean that you don't try to advise people, but it means you have to understand first, like Ghazali rahimahullah, when he talked about what are some things you should do before you give nasiha, or before you see something and you want to advise, or you see something wrong, even something haram, displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before you remember, first thing is you remember your own sins. Now remembering your own sins is not, the intention of that is not to keep you from advising the person, because Deen al-Nasiha, we need to be advising each other. But it's to make you humble when you're doing it. Because you shouldn't ever, if you can't see your own sins, then you got a more serious problem than that person. If you can't see your own deficiencies, then may Allah help us. Because that's a more serious problem. So seeing our own deficiencies is extremely important in the spirit of how we give nasiha. That somebody has a certain issue, we have a different issue. And also we don't know if we had been put in the exact circumstance of that person and been brought up in the same way and the same life, everything the same, we could have been worse. We have to have, the prophets, peace be upon them, they didn't have this judgmental, very lack of compassion, this arrogance. They didn't have that. They were very compassionate, and they had, empathy. They had like this understanding of people and this care for people. That's, if we really want to give Islam to people and be a da'i and, do da'wah, we have to have that same attitude. We cannot be people who go around looking down on other people and don't even see our own deficiencies, because then we have a serious problem. And one of the most serious diseases of the heart is arrogance. Is seeing myself and measuring myself higher than I am. Being, admiring myself. And then looking, and there's like different categories of arrogance. Sometimes just being pleased with myself, just that, even if I'm not looking down on other people, that's arrogance. That's a form of arrogance. Ujub. And then there is, ghurur, where it's, ujub is like, even if I do have something that's accurate, but I'm pleased with it. It's self-admiration. This is also a disease. But sometimes we measure ourselves beyond what we really are. And that's ghurur. Because it's self-deception. We're deceived. We think we're greater than we really are, and that's usually the case. But the root of arrogance is what? Same as the root for riyah. What is that? You don't see the king. See, if you don't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you don't realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness, then you're able to think that you're great. But when you compare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to what anything else is, you can't see greatness in anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So just, having that sense of humility and that sense of love and compassion, that I'm advising you, not because I think I'm better than you, but because I'm sincerely worried, because I see you running towards a cliff. And if I see someone running towards a cliff and I don't say anything, that pretty much means that I don't care. And that's pretty cold. Oh, it's not my problem, right? That person's gonna go jump off the cliff, it's not my problem. Maybe they're blindfolded, they don't know they're going towards a cliff. But you see that they're going to hurt themselves. If you love them, you're going to try to save them. So having that type of spirit in the nasiha, and that's what helps it be more effective as well. And ultimately make dua for them, make dua for us, make dua for yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who can guide.